Today's recipe, dhaba style bhuna sabzi. Have you ever wondered where this bhuna flavor comes from? Well, this recipe and it'll sort you forever. Let's begin dhaba style bhuna sabzi. I'm going to divide this recipe into three components. The first component is making the spice mix, which is going to begin with browning the onions. This is going to happen in a wok or a kadhai. The second component is bhunoing or literally pan-searing the vegetables. Now, vegetables in this case, French beans, carrots, baby corns, American sweet corn, garden peas, capsicum, green and red, bell peppers in a lot of cases. You can go on with vegetables of your choice. You can also add in the western vegetables. I've chosen one or two, but you can go all out and bring in the broccolis and zucchinis of the world in this recipe. The third component is literally making the spice mix, for which I'm going to grind certain few things. But before that, let's begin with the first component, and that is heating oil in a wok or a kadhai, adding in sliced onions. While the onions are getting cooked or caramelized, let's move on to the next pan, in which I'm going to pan sear the vegetables. Now all of these are raw vegetables. Let's turn the flame on. And in this case, now there are several things that you can actually do in this recipe. You can make this entirely in oil, you can make this in ghee, you can make this in butter. You can use a combination of these various things, personalize it. Dhaba cooking is all about going all out and bringing in that nuance of charcoal, of barbecue, outdoor seating, classic sundowners, lots of beautiful things coming in together. Once the oil just kind of begins to heat, I'm going to add in French beans, carrots, baby corn, followed by American sweet corn, green peas, capsicum, and bell peppers. The whole idea is to pan sear all these vegetables so that the natural flavor kind of accentuates in the recipe. Now, you need to do all of this on high flame so that the vegetables also start caramelizing or turning a shade brown while we are doing all of this. If you cover this and cook, or cook this with the vegetables in its entirety, chances are 99% of the time all of this would get steamed and you're not looking at that kind of a vegetable nuance. The whole idea here is bhunoing or pan searing on medium flame so that the results are achieved. At this point in time, I'm going to add in a little bit of salt so that the natural flavor of the vegetables all starts drawing out. At this point in time, and I'm repeating myself, it's important to keep the flame on medium high so that the vegetables start getting scorched. If the flame goes lower, it'll start releasing a lot of moisture, and you do not want that to happen. The onions have turned brown in color. Let's move on to the third component, and that is making the spice mix. Now, ideally, you could also make this separately and then add it to this, but with that, the onions will still have a little bite. So what I'm doing is, I'm adding in paste of ginger garlic. Before adding in the tomatoes, just ensure that the ginger and garlic are slightly cooked. Let's add in the tomatoes. Do not forget the fact that the vegetables are also getting pan-seared. Time to add in some spices, beginning with red chili. In this case, Kashmiri red chili for that nice bright color. Just stirring it roughly like so. Coriander seeds, untoasted, followed by red chili powder, carom seeds, ajwain, turmeric powder, black pepper. This is for that spunk and spice in the recipe. And lastly, cumin seeds. Let's mix all of this and bhuno this or pan fry this for 2 to 3 minutes. And after which, we're going to cool this and grind this into fine paste. The masala is ready. With this, off goes the flame. And the vegetables are also done and ready. Let's turn this flame off as well. The bhuna masala is done and ready. The bhuna sabzi is also done and ready. Now the point is to assemble these two and add into the goodness. Without adding in more oil or butter or ghee, I'm adding in this spice mix. Well, at this stage, if you want to store this and reduce your cooking time, you could also do that. You could transfer this in a freezer box and use it as you please. Now at this stage, this is almost looking like a makhani gravy, but trust me, as this keeps cooking, the color will keep changing and it'll start looking like bhuna masala. The idea is to keep cooking this on medium flame, and that's the whole essence of bhuna. But while you're doing this, ensure that you do not get scalded with all of this that's flying all across the kitchen table. Time to add in some salt, remembering the fact that salt was already added while bhunoing the vegetables. Our bhuna masala has reduced well, and that's exactly how we want this to be. Well, ideally there's a lot of ghee, oil, butter in this recipe. I'm keeping it to its minimal. Right towards the end actually, you can just place a knob of butter for it to look nice dhaba-like. Time to continue bhunoing this like so, in the masala this time. And with this, your dhaba style veg bhuna is done and ready. Let's serve this. And finally, like I said earlier, a knob of butter. With this, your dhaba style veg bhuna is done and ready. Have this with naan, roti, paratha, lachha paratha, malbari paratha. The days when you cannot go to a dhaba, bring the dhaba home. This is me, the Bombay chef Varun Inamdar, signing off. Bye for now.